Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to We Need to Talk with Tony Lindsay. I am your host, Tony Lindsay, and we're here for another one. Want to have a nice conversation with my community this morning, the Black community, because we have now entered into a new day, a new era in American politics. We have a new president, and I want to know how you guys feel about it. Uh, what I want to talk about today is called, damn, I'm trying to put it up, the Trump effect on the Black community. All right, yeah, let me put that up. Add the banner. Here is the topic that we're going to be discussing today: the Trump effect on the Black community. Why do I want to have this conversation? Because I think um, Black folks in America, we need to have a conversation, because I think the wrong people have been infiltrating our politics and telling us what it is we want, what it is we need, without actually listening to us. So what I want to do today is I want to have a conversation, but I want to invite you guys up. I want to invite you all to come up and participate in the conversation. Now, I'm not sure if anybody's going to show up. I'm still going to talk. I'm still going to run my mouth, but I'm going to send out the invite for you guys to join the conversation. So what I'll do here, I'm going to put the link here in the comment section. Now, I just sent this out. This went to, okay, so this went to YouTube, but let me also put it on Facebook as well. So you're going to look in the comment sections, and you're going to see that I am putting out an invitation for you guys to come and join the conversation. All right. I'm going to also put it right here on X. I'm going to put it under the post. All right. So that's the link to the StreamYard where you can come right up here and you can talk. You can offer your opinion. You can get involved. So for those of you guys on X, you can find the link to join the podcast. You can come up. You can find it on YouTube. You can also find it on Facebook. I put it in the comment section. Good afternoon, Jenna. How are you doing? All right. Yes, everyone. Okay. So this morning when I woke up, I did what most of us usually do. We grab our phones, rolled over, looked at the phone, and I started scrolling through my Instagram and other social media. And I saw a split. I saw a bunch of Black folks who were very, very happy with Donald Trump's election, with his inauguration. He was getting real busy last night with those EOs. But then at the same time, I saw another group of Black folks who were very, very upset. They were pointing at any Black person who voted for Donald Trump as being some sort of a sellout. You just wait and see. You gonna get it. You're gonna get what you want. I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of condemnation. And the thing is, I saw a lot of that rhetoric, though, coming from Black people in, let's call them, positions of influence. We may call them the gatekeeper class, the boule, but I think a lot of them serve as being a part of the professional managerial class. These are the people who are usually tasked by the establishment to feed you a narrative, to keep you angry, to keep you feeling hopeless, to keep you distrustful of your neighbors, of your family, of your friends. These are the same people who tell you that if you don't think the way that you are supposed to think, that you are expected to think, then you should be ousted from the group, ousted from society. The same way they said that you should be ousted from society for not taking the jab. Y'all remember that? And some of these people, I know they're just grifting. Let's be honest. Some of these people, we know that this is their bread and butter to constantly perpetuate a divide. And I've never been a grifter, but I will say that for a long time, I did fall for a lot of the scam. And the reason why I'm calling it as a scam is because let me be clear. I'm a black man in the United States, so I know that racism in this country is very, very real. But at the same time, I understand how it has been commodified and marketed to people for the benefit of a select few, for those people to remain included in the cabal of government corruption, privilege, access to the media, certain institutions that provide them with a lot of influence, power, money. And unfortunately, you see a lot of people always trying to grasp at that. You see a lot of these people, they stay tethered, they remain tethered to the media, to the legacy media. They never really stray outside of the narrative, even when they are fired from their positions in the legacy media, because they always want to remain in a position where they'll be welcomed back into the fold or onto the plantation, as a lot of black folks likes to say. But here's the thing. Through all the politics that we're espousing, all of the politics that are being spoon-fed to us, there's a group of people who continue to lose in every single election. And that's black folks. So I think it's time that we have a conversation. And I think and it's not just having a conversation about Donald Trump, it's having a conversation about our politics. Now, one thing I've noticed is that our politics are always being delivered to us through the celebrity class, whether it's basketball players, football players, rappers, actors. It's always delivered to us through people who I would argue are not even qualified to even discuss most of the topics that they're discussing and trying to educate you on. I don't need an entertainer to educate me on the politics that impact my community. I don't need an entertainer to educate me on anything, honestly. You're an entertainer. You're here to entertain me. I don't need comedians to dictate my politics to me. So why are so many of us resorting to absorbing our political acumen from these entertainers? Why are these the default quote unquote leaders of the black community, but you don't see that anywhere else? Are we not offended by that? And there's a lot of very brilliant, comedians out there, a lot of smart folks. I'm not saying that all entertainers are dumb, but I've been around a lot of them. And I know a lot of them don't know shit about politics. And I would argue they don't know shit about most people in the middle class and working poor. They don't know shit about your issues. But for some reason, we continue to default to them. We default to rich people to dictate the politics of and make decisions on behalf of the overwhelming majority of people who do not even compare financially to those people. In other words, we have rich people. We continue to designate rich people to make decisions on behalf of poor people. We rely upon rich, wealthy, privileged people in our government as well to make decisions on behalf of the overwhelming majority of the population that is poor. How does that make sense? And unfortunately, the black community, when it comes to electoral politics, you're a sure thing. You're an easy lay. At least for Democrats, you are. How does it feel? that there is a political party out there that really has no obligation, no sense of obligation, and they in fact have no requirement to do anything tangibly for your community, yet you will pledge your votes to these people unconditionally every single election. Now I know people are praising the 10% of black women who voted for Trump this election, or the 24% of black men. And by the way, these are increasing numbers who are walking away from the Democrat Party. I think that is actually progress. And here's the thing: whether Donald Trump turns out being a bad president for black people or not, it's still a good thing that black people are walking away from doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That is insanity. And whenever I talk about this stuff, it's always the lowest common denominator, the lowest common intellectual denominator of people who will respond with insults. Uncle Ruckus, Sambo, sellout, Uncle Tom, even though Uncle Tom was actually a hero in the story. It just shows the lack of intellectual capacity of so many of us. And I'm tired of us always relying on these people who stand in and they pose as if they are a part of the struggle, but they really aren't. That's the thing. We got to stop falling for these marketing campaigns. And a lot of these marketing campaigns are brought to you by the legacy media. They're brought to you by the mainstream media, who are tasked with lying to you over and over and over again. Let me turn this phone down. Sorry. So, why don't we start with yesterday, the inauguration of Donald Trump? It was a very big day in the country, but I wonder, and I asked this question to the black folks out there, I wonder, were you listening to what he said? Did you listen to his speech? Were you paying attention to the EOs, the executive orders that he was writing yesterday? Did you listen to the things he said after the inauguration speech when he went out and he spoke to the crowd, unscripted? Did you listen to any of it? Did you hear how he reminded you about the promises he made on the campaign trail and how he was committed to following through on those promises? Did that make a difference to you? Or is it still F Donald Trump? Why is it that we're so forgiving of Joe Biden, making Joe Biden a hero, even though he told y'all ain't black if you don't vote for him? He talked about racial jungles, talked about bringing y'all to heel while writing a crime bill that locked up multiple generations of black people, brought you to 88 crack laws, hung out with segregationists and I was about to say triple K because I'm on TikTok. KKK members, white supremacists, those were his mentors. Joe Biden, see, for those of you who are Gen X or older, y'all know that Joe Biden has been a fraud his entire political career. And if you actually use a little bit of critical thinking and objectivity, you know that Joe Biden has been at the helm of a lot of the policies that have led to a lot of the struggles that black people are experiencing today. But somehow we've made him a hero. That's crazy. Joe Biden has been laughed out of elections before most of y'all ever heard of him. He was laughed out of elections, presidential elections, for being a freaking fraud and a plagiarist. Do y'all know that? Do y'all know that the bankruptcy bill that basically left so many people trapped in student debt so they couldn't discharge it with bankruptcies, that was championed and brought to you by Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe? We don't know that? That's crazy to me. Now, if you're seeing me on Rumble, please just type I don't know, something in the chat just so I can know that you guys are seeing me on Rumble, because where I'm streaming from, it's really wonky, so it doesn't really give me an accurate view if anyone can actually hear me or if you're seeing anything. So just type in the chat if you can, just to let me know that you're there. So if there's any, I don't know, any type of adjustments that I have to make, I'll do it. And on Instagram as well. If you're there, just type, hey, what's up, whatever it is, just so I know that you're getting the stream. All right. Okay, got you. All right. Thank you, Roxana. Thank you. So it's time to have like a real conversation. I think one of the biggest things that makes it difficult to have this conversation when it comes to electoral politics, especially concerning Black people in this country and people of color, right? Black, Hispanic, everyone. I think one of the things that makes it hard is the level of shaming that people try to subject you to whenever you think different, or whenever you decide to step away from the orthodoxy of a certain political party. Because at the end of the day, people are pretty much trying to silence you. They're trying to scare you, bully you into silence. We've become way too passive. So I like to remain loyal to and connected to the truth, no matter which side it is. I have a lot of criticisms for Donald Trump, but I must admit, those criticisms have been decreasing, and noticeably after the assassination attempt on his life, that many of my friends on the left joked about, said they wish that the person didn't miss, called it a hoax. I think it brought out the character of a lot of people, and the audacity of some of those people to think that I'm somehow supposed to feel like, oh, I need to be accepted by you, when you have espoused some of the most egregious forms of hatred and wickedness that I just don't even want to be around. I don't want my children to be around. What has happened to us? Why have our politics gotten like this? So let me start. Let me start by bringing up something that I saw, which was a real big topic. Well, at least this morning. I saw it last night. And this was Elon Musk doing what everyone was calling a Nazi salute. So let's start here. Now, this is Elon Musk. This is what everybody's been talking about. Elon Musk, he did on the world stage at a Donald Trump rally. Elon Musk did a Nazi salute. All right, let's see what happened. Let's see what the media keeps telling us. Here you go.
Thank you. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Okay. Looks pretty bad, doesn't it? That sure does look bad, right? But here's the funny thing. What I saw when he did that was him grabbing his heart and throwing it out to the crowd. Yes, it was a very weird, awkward type of thing. And we know Elon Musk, he's, you know, I don't, not to say anything, but he's on the spectrum. He has Asperger's, so he's awkward in the way he does things. And I found it really interesting that people just immediately defaulted to that. But then I was like, damn, why is the clip so short? Because I always hearken back to all of the things I saw them say about Donald Trump that pissed me off, and how it was always clipped. So I said, let me look further. And then I saw another clip. Here's the other clip I saw.
Thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is.
Wait, what was that he said? Hold on.
To you. It is thanks to you.
My heart goes out to you. Oh, So that means that was Elon Musk pantomiming, throwing his heart out to the crowd. Do you see why? Yeah, I know TikTok. I can't show it to you because I'm doing the live podcast. But y'all gotta go over to We Need to Talk with Tony Lindsay on Rumble or YouTube, or you can go to my X at Tony L Talks and you'll see it. Okay. You can even go to my Facebook, Tony Lindsay, and you'll see it. You can go to my Instagram, Tony Lindsay _director. All of those places you'll see this, but I can't show this on TikTok, interestingly enough, because I'll get a copyright strike and they'll suspend my account. This is the problem with social media. But anyway, so that was the context of what we saw with this guy Elon Musk. So I said, let me look a little bit further, and look what I discovered. Does that mean that Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Elizabeth Warren, and Kamala Harris are all Nazis? Or is it possible that people take these clips out of context and they use it in a way to piss people off? They use it in a way to trigger you. This is what I mean about rage baiting. I did a video on rage baiting and media manipulation before this, and this is exactly the context that I'm talking about. And let me give you just another example of what I'm talking about. So, from that brief clip they gave you, and I see elected officials here in New York City sharing this shit, people who I struggle to continue to respect, who keep sharing this shit. And I know y'all are smart enough to know that what you're sharing is bullshit. This is why y'all lost. Honestly, frankly, this is why you lost. And this is why you're going to continue to lose. And as a lifelong Democrat, Tony Lindsay, a lifelong Democrat, I'm ashamed of y'all. And this shit, frankly, it's embarrassing. This shit is crazy, bro. It's crazy. What is wrong with y'all? This is the TDS that we're talking about. The same shit y'all did with Elon Musk is the same shit y'all did with Donald Trump. Oh, what? You need an example? Cool. Here we go. Remember this?
You had people in that group, excuse me, and you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, and you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me,
See, that's the clip that CNN, CSNBC, MSNBC, that's the clip that all of them gave you. But they left out the complete statement that Donald Trump said. Let's see if I can even find it, because I actually did like an entire video on this. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, let's try it right here.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
What did he just say? Hold up. Didn't Barack Obama on the Kamala Harris campaign trail tell y'all that Donald Trump was calling Nazis very fine people? But somehow people that call out these lies, they're the traitors? This is what makes y'all full of shit. Do you want to hear it again? Let's hear it again.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. And
okay, so let me ask you, why not play the full context of what Donald Trump said in that moment? Let's be objective here. Forget whether you like the man or not. Why would you not play the full statement where he said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. I'm talking about the people who were protesting the taking down of a statue. Why would you not include that? So let me ask you, is it possible, folks, is it at all possible that you are being manipulated? Yes? No? Am I just crazy? Is that what it is? Do you think that I'm interested in being accepted by a bunch of people who are so attached to delusion in order to justify their own fear and their bias and their hatred? I'm not interested in joining the mob. Is it possible that maybe we can step away from the mob mentality for a second to see what's going on? Because all I see, and I've continued to say this, is a bunch of rich people convincing a bunch of poor people that the reason why the poor people are struggling is because of other poor people. That's all I see. I see a media that has been acting as nothing more than stenographers for your government, which continues to lie to you. And the more you start speaking to each other, the more your government will create tactics to discourage you from doing that by continuing to divide us, by continuing to propagandize you. And then when that doesn't work, they censor you. Because the easiest way to keep us blind and ignorant is to make sure that we can't talk to each other. So whenever you dissent with your government, whenever you dissent from the going orthodoxy, the narrative, the status quo, you become a problem. You're dangerous. You're dangerous to, let me tell you something, people. The greatest danger to a corrupt government is an informed people, an informed citizenry. And what we really need is more courageous people to stand up and call out the hypocrisy, whether it happens on the left or the right. Because the fact of the matter is, none of us are actually on the left or the right. We don't even know what those are anymore. We're just caught up in this matrix of politics of delusion that are being created to keep us at odds with each other, while the ruling class continues to move forward their agenda against our collective interests as the American people. We now view nationalism as something horrible. Nationalism is a love of your country. Why can't we get to a place where we all decide, you know what? I'm a black man. You're a white person. You're Asian. You're Latino, whatever group you are. But you know what? We do have one common goal. We do have a shared interest. Why can't we do that? And guess what? That's the same argument that I bring to the black community. All of us, all the time. Because whether you like it or not, whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, you're still black. Which means we have a shared common interest, whether you like it or not. And I know a lot of y'all just said, oh, well, I can't be with those black people over there, these niggers and these ones, the ghetto. And let me enlighten you to something. Most of the perception that most of us see of the black community, including black people, is what has been provided to you by the media. It has been provided to you by your government, by the Western media propaganda machine. That's why so many people come to this country and they just have this twisted view of who black Americans are. They want you to believe that we're either the comic relief, the drug dealer, or the sassy man that comes into the room trying to steal the men from women. It's just it's so tiring. Why is it that all of the politics that I've ever come up with under the Democrat Party that pertain to the black community have always been delivered through the lens of criminality and sexualization under the guise of empowerment? But I never hear any freaking economic policy. But yet, for some reason, we're supposed to be just attached by the hip to this party, while you have people like Angela Rye going through freaking psychotic episodes and depression because the grift is over. demonizing anyone who steps outside of the Democrat Party orthodoxy as being somehow evil or nefarious? Why is it that so many of the black boule class are telling black people that your blackness is contingent to your allegiance to the Democrat Party? Your blackness is tied to your liberalism. And the craziest thing that I see always is whenever, listen, whether you're a black liberal, black Democrat, black conservative, Republican, I don't care. I still love you. My family, we got both sides. We got all of that. We all have different political views. Why? Because we are not a monolith. But for some reason, we vote like a monolith. Why? Is it possible we are being scammed? Is it possible people are starting to wake up to the scam? I think so. I think it's taken too long because I think we are the most heavily propagandized people in this country. And you know who they use to do it? I know y'all not going to be comfortable with this. They use a lot of black women, a hell of a lot of black women to do it. The media is always going to prop up anti-black voices in order to keep you in your place and keep you dependent upon the system, to keep you believing that you're not able to do things for yourself, that you need a government daddy to do it for you. I don't. I want less government intrusion into my life. And I've realized that the more self-agency you have, the more self-reliant you are, the more entrepreneurial you are, the more independent you are, the more you are subjected to politics of dependency, welfare programs, subsidies, all types of shit. You're always being told that you can't do anything. You're unable to because the system is going to stop you at every turn. Let's be honest. That shit is discouraging as hell. And I know a lot of black entrepreneurs, if they listen to the Democrat Party and their white liberal allies, they would have never gotten anything done. Ever. I can't do that anymore. And I don't want to see you guys do that anymore. And we have to start calling out those within our community who continue to prop up these politics of weakness, begging, dependency, and entitlement at the same time. I'm tired of seeing people who criticize the Democrat Party always being attacked and having and crazy enough, having your blackness being attacked. Wait, now my blackness? Shit. I'm not black now because I'm not a Democrat? What? So you're telling me that the gauge of my authenticity as a black man is reliant upon my allegiance to white liberals? Because that's who runs the Democrat Party. How stupid do you sound in saying that? And who are you helping with that rhetoric? Think about it. We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. Now, let's move on, because I wanted to get through a couple of things, because there's a lot of hypocrisy I'm tired of seeing. And I want to let me take it here. Let me start from this point right here. Now, y'all remember how everybody's been talking all of this, oh, Donald Trump, you know, well, first of all, Democrats, they're praising Joe Biden, praising that man for pardoning these crazy ass preemptive pardons. And I can't believe that you guys are actually cheering on him pardoning Fauci, of all people. That's the wildest thing that I've ever seen. But let me show you something, because here's from the mouth of Joe Biden himself how he feels, how he has always felt about preemptive pardons. Just a little reminder.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons for his adult children and for Rudy Giuliani. He's also floated the idea in private conversations, according to our reporting, of possibly pardoning himself, which he insists he has the power to do, though that has never been litigated. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
You heard the question. Does this concern you? All of these preemptive pardons, pardoning his family members. Specifically, this is when we were talking about Trump. Here's what Biden had to say.
Well, it concerns me in terms of it, what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
Whoa, what was that you said, Joe? Hold on. What did you say, Joe?
You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons. Nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. You know, it's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Y'all heard that, right?
President Joe Biden issuing brand new pardons before he leaves office today. That includes General Mark Milley, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and congresspeople who investigated the January 6th Capitol attack. I want to read part of this statement that he just issued. He said this: the issuance of these pardons should not be mistaken as an acknowledgement that any individual engaged in any wrongdoing, nor should acceptance be misconstrued as an admission of guilt for any offense.
You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
Well, from the horse's mouth, right? What we got to say about that? This is exactly what I mean. We're falling for the scam. Why are we falling for this scam? But let's dig a little deeper, shall we?
Of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of
This is your
all
media.
crime, who's just
Yeah, I just want you to know what your media has also said about this. So we know Joe Biden's position on preemptive pardons. What about what's her name? Joanne Reed and the rest of the mainstream media that you guys swear allegiance to? Let's listen.
an innocent person. Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person.
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
That's MSNBC.
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes. And we may not be aware of what they are, but the pardon is clear evidence that crimes have been committed.
I imagine if he decides to issue these preemptive pardons, it will be cast in a way that he is protecting his family and protecting their reputations from, villainous exterior forces that are against him.
First off, we should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability and that of his family members that pardons are a major obsession with him.
Wow. That's Democrat media.
The idea of a kind of prospective pardon, this sort of permanent federal get out of jail free card, that seems to be what we're talking about in the case of this, right? With Giuliani and his three eldest children who, as far as we know, have not been convicted of a crime. Maybe they've committed a lot and they don't want to face action. I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't ask for a pardon. I don't think I deserve one because I don't think I've done anything criminal. But
hold on. So, but guess what? They can always reject the pardon. If you know you didn't do anything wrong, don't accept the pardon. Fauci, Schiff, Milley, James Biden, the whole Biden family. Bro, you can't make this up. So am I crazy? Or am I crazy for what I'm showing you? What, is this too inconvenient for you guys to face this information? I'm a bad guy because I'm showing you the hypocrisy and the lies that you continue to be fed by your media? Come on, y'all. Come on, we're smarter than this. Or is it better that we just play into the same game that they play into and we just do things like this? Right? Why don't we just play that game? Is that what we prefer? Is that what we want to do? They call this guy a Nazi so that he calls them Nazis. Could it be that the majority of these people in your government, especially in Congress, they are corrupt and they're lying to you? Could it be that they're going into Congress with $100 in a bank account in their savings and they walk out worth $28 million? Is it possible that Barack Obama, whose net worth was 1.3 million when he went into office, and then came out of office worth 70 million? You think maybe there's some kind of a cash grab scheme going on in your federal government? Think it's possible? Or would you rather just continue to confirm your biases with the people who have been feeding you your opinions from the beginning anyway? Didn't we learn anything from COVID? So, to my community, we've been somehow conditioned to approach our politics like this. Let me show you. That's how we've been conditioned to approach our politics. Like, please, please, can I have this? As opposed to approaching your politics like this. Do you see the difference? It's called quid pro quo. You give me this and I give you that. It's a business transaction. You don't vote for anyone who's not doing anything for you in your community. Now, here's where the confusion lies. We've been taught that unless it is something specific for us, that wholesale, we must just write them off and take our ball and go in the house and walk away. No, because I don't believe that anyone in this government has the priority interest of Black people in mind. I think we should know that from our existence in this country. Does that mean we just give up and take our ball and go in the house? Or does it mean we build? Does it mean maybe we do what we saw with Black Wall Street, with many thriving Black communities that, and sadly, during segregation? Is it that we only want to engage in commerce with each other and build our own institutions? Is it we only want to do that when we're forced to be around each other? Wow, was that offensive for me to say to you? I don't give a shit. Clearly, when we are left to our own devices and we can engage in group economics like most other groups, we thrive. Dr. Claude Anderson said it. Is he a coon? Can we do better, please? Can we stop begging for the government to continue to dictate what we can and cannot do? Because everything that we're doing, we're conducting it through a lens of dependency upon the government. Do you know that the federal government is the largest employer in the United States of America? The federal government was never meant to be this large. Do you know how many employees were in the federal government in 1940? Less than 1 million. It was like 900 and something thousand people total. You know how many today? Can anybody guess? More than approximately 3 million, like 2,980,000, almost 3 million. That means that's more than 3 times the amount. That is why offices like the Department of Government Efficiency are necessary. It's in order to clean out the rot and the wasteful spending. That's why presidential impoundment authority is necessary, because every minute your government, your federal government, is losing money, billions of dollars. That's why the Pentagon, they fail every audit. Like the last 8 audits, they failed. Trillions of dollars have been lost. Y'all don't care. We don't care. But we've been taught to only view our politics through the lens of, well, what you gonna do? What you gonna give me? Well, if you ain't gonna just give it to me, sir, then no. Do we want to protect our interests? Absolutely. Does that mean we do not express our demands? Absolutely. And we fight for it. But it doesn't mean that if you don't get exactly what you want in that moment, that other policies do not also impact you in your community, like inflation. Wait, so while we fighting for reparations, right? While y'all fighting for reparations, you don't think you want your grocery prices affordable? You cool with Bidenomics? You cool with a cumulative rate inflation of 20% over the past 4 years? You're cool with your dollar being worth 80 cents as compared to 4 years ago? You cool with that? What the hell is happening right now? Y'all calling him Uncle Joe? Bro, this is wild. This is bananas. Y'all got to, I'm sorry, we have to start raising our political IQ. Raise the bar of our political intelligence. Stop getting caught up in, and another thing I'm getting tired of y'all doing too, real talk, is whenever you're presented with facts, you respond with insults. You're allergic to factual information. Cut that shit out. And there are a lot of smart black folks out there who just choose not to get involved in the public discourse. Some of them, they don't want to do it because, they don't want to be, I guess, publicly shamed. You don't want to be canceled. Sometimes it has to do with your employer, which is why I argue for, this is why I advocate for entrepreneurship and small business owners. This is why I want us to think outside of the box of just simply having an employer. But a lot of us don't say anything because, well, and also we could just be busy in our own lives, right? And some people feel hopeless and just disenchanted with the process. And so they don't participate. But I think what we saw this election was people getting fed up, because when you remain silent for too long, you're giving license to the bad actors to just go all the way and push things to the limit. And that's what we saw with a lot of these weird, radical, extreme leftist policies that I would argue are borderline insanity, that left this country looking crazy on the world stage. And you saw an open rebuke of the Democrat Party this last election with an electoral landslide. So clearly the people want something different. And that's everybody. 1 second. I got to fix this camera. Yeah, my camera only lasts for I don't know, I think 10 minutes at a time. So I had to restart it. But yeah, so that's basically what it is. Now, Donald Trump with his executive orders yesterday, I was loving it. I was loving it. But one executive order that he signed in particular, I thought was brilliant. And I wonder what you all think about it. One of the first executive orders that Donald Trump signed was an EO executive order that declared, that banned any weaponization of the government against political enemies, his prior political enemies. Remember what Democrats been saying? Donald Trump is going to come in and he's going to weaponize the Justice Department and the law against us. He's going to go after his political enemies. They're literally projecting exactly what they did to him. And they were afraid that since they lost, because they didn't expect to lose, since they lost, he was going to do to them what they just set a precedent for. They just set the precedent that, oh, this is what we're doing in American politics. Oh, this is a banana republic now. We prosecute our political opponents. That's what we do. But when they lost, they were now afraid because they realized that all of the shit that they did, they've given license to Donald Trump to do the same. And what does the man do when he gets in office? And look, somebody just, I wish y'all could see my TikTok. Somebody just typed in the chat, "Shut up, Uncle Tom." Y'all see exactly what I was describing to you guys, right? This is the response you get whenever you speak against the larger Democrat orthodoxy that dictates your blackness through the lens of white liberals. You're an Uncle Tom, and that jackass doesn't even realize that Uncle Tom is actually not an insult. It's Sambo, dumbass. So this is what I'm saying to you. All of you folks out there who think that you're somehow, betraying black people by voting for Donald Trump or supporting his agenda, just know that the people who have been castigating you publicly, they're full of shit. They have no thesis. They have no argument. They have no point. Many of them have no intellectual capacity to even understand the multitude of policies that will benefit the black community. But then again, maybe some of them do. Because I believe that a lot of these profiles that have black faces on them, calling you black folks Sambo, Uncle Tom, Jungle Bunny, nigger, sellout, and all of that shit, those are white liberals. That's white people behind those accounts saying to you what they wish they could say to your face. That's the scam. Because I've had my blackness challenged, well, on the internet, never in my face, because they won't get, they're not ready to get the shit slapped out of them. But you get a lot of these people who will challenge your blackness boldly on the internet, but they always hide in their face. You never hear their voices. That's white people that's doing that to y'all, bro. And guess what? Most black people don't use the term Uncle Tom because we already know that's really not an insult. And that's something that, let's be real, white people say that shit. They don't know nothing about Uncle Tom's Cabin. They don't know nothing about it. So I'm telling you, bro, black people, stop being played. And bro, come on. We know when somebody's bullshitting us. Let's stop being played. All right. Let's stop allowing ourselves for being played. Let's stop supporting politics that are censoring us. I mean, even with the TikTok ban, I found that crazy. So many black creators made so much money on TikTok. Yet y'all voted for Joe Biden, who signed the TikTok ban. And we know why he did it, because of the criticism of Israel. We saw the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, as soon as, you started seeing all of these Palestinians with their cell phones reporting everything happening on the ground, putting it in real time so people could see the atrocities that were being committed, the human rights violations, the crimes against humanity. People saw that shit in a way that they never saw before. Now, no matter which side of the conflict you're on, which I find it crazy for people to be on the side of genocide, but no matter which side of the conflict you're on, the fact remains, we know that there was no push to get rid of TikTok until after October 7th. And that's because everything was being reported, not just the Zionist tilt on the story. We know that. And yes, Donald Trump did propose a TikTok ban with an EO under his first administration. He gave them 45 days due to potential national security risks. This is information that was provided to him by his State Department and intel agencies at the time. But what I noticed about that was it was quickly, they quickly got an injunction against it. And then it just poof, disappeared. But Donald Trump did point it out, and he started the conversation, which did lead to the pressure on TikTok, so much so that under the Biden administration, you saw Project Texas, where TikTok moved their servers from China to the United States in Texas, where they connected to Oracle. They took all of their content and it was attached to Oracle, where all of the information, all of the content moderation and the algorithm, the ByteDance algorithm, was subjected to vetting through the Oracle system, a United States company. We ain't never heard no problems. So that means it's literally being monitored and audited by the United States in the United States, protecting your information. But what's even crazier is, how is this a national security risk when Facebook and Google, all these other social media platforms, they're taking your information and they're selling it to China? What is the articulated national security risk? Can someone tell me? Because the only thing I've heard is quote unquote propaganda coming from Jonathan Greenblatt, who was caught on a mic, coming from your senators like Tom Cotton and others, who are so pro censorship that it's ridiculous. And then y'all black folks are supporting that. So you're supporting that. When I would argue, we've been the most censored on social media before any of this happened. Remember all the times people calling you nigger and all of this shit on social media, and whenever you respond, you get thrown in Facebook jail? Y'all know about that shit. Your account gets suspended, and then when you report the account that's using all the racial epithets against you, what response do you always get? We're sorry, but the content doesn't go against our community standards. There's no violations. Y'all know what censorship is like. But you're okay with it as long as it is committed against those who you deem as your political enemies. That's how they get you every time. Don't allow these people to take you outside of who you are. Because when you stand by and you allow injustice to be committed against other people, you're giving them license to come back and do it to you. And that's where we are. That is where we are today. We're watching rampant censorship spread across the globe, especially in European countries. It's crazy to see what we're seeing. There's something very unique about this country in our Constitution, in the rights that we have that are not granted to us, but recognized as our inalienable rights. They are protected under our Constitution. So the globalist agenda that Donald Trump just detached us from has literally saved your fucking freedom. And most of y'all don't even understand it. Look up this pandemic preparedness treaty or the summit for the future, the pandemic. They got so many names for it. Project 2030. Y'all don't even know about it. And that was the scariest thing throughout this election. Y'all are busy talking about this and that, but you don't even realize that Joe Biden was trying to hand over the sovereignty of this country and your freedom to foreign nations under the guise of protection under the WHO. That's why Donald Trump took us all out of the WHO under his previous administration, but you allowed the media to fool you. You see, increase your intellectual, political IQ in order to understand the issues. I'm tired of these lazy politics. Well, Donald Trump, I saw some EOs last night, but I didn't see nothing about black folks. Bro, why are these people leading the conversation? Think about it. Why are they platformed? Why do they have the biggest followings? Why are they always exempt from the shadow banning? Why are they always exempt from the account suspensions, even though they spew nothing but lies? I don't use the term misinformation because that's communism. But these people lie to you in and out every fucking day. Even on TikTok, you got the Harry Sissons, the Parkers, the Deans, all of these people who are brought to you by Palantir, espousing Democrat propaganda, leftist lies. Yet if I see a conservative say something like, yeah, biological men shouldn't be in women's sports, account suspended for hate speech. Bro, yesterday when I was streaming the inauguration on a TikTok live, my account got suspended for 7 days for hate speech. I'm on a backup account. I'm on another account right now. So even with this TikTok saving TikTok bullshit, guess what? We don't give a shit if you're going to keep censoring us. Donald Trump wrote an EO yesterday on ending the censorship. It's going to have to move forward legislatively, though, to get into the weeds. But don't look at Mark Zuckerberg or what's this dude? Show Chu. They're not heroes at all. They're not champions of free speech because they've been censoring you forever, and they're still censoring you now. Even as they pledge to work with Donald Trump and changing this and giving you back, they're still censoring you right now. We are the media now. Point blank. The only place where you're not freaking censored is on X and Rumble. And that's why I'm here. So if you want to find me, just look up We Need to Talk with Tony Lindsay. The podcast will be available on Spotify, iTunes, and other platforms, because that's where I'm going, bro. That's where I'm moving. We gotta let's stop being attached to social media platforms that are censoring us for our information. It's not going to work that way, bro. We are the media now. You are the media now. Whether you're a citizen journalist who's reporting the facts from the ground, or you're an independent, I don't care how small your platform is, because all of the sourcing of the information for your news is coming from X. They are the #1 source for news on the globe. That means they're taking their information from you. All of the other information, you can go to government websites, you can pull the stats, and you can take that information just like me and provide the accuracy, the proper interpretation, because the media, they are only giving you one angle, and that is the position of the state. They're telling you through the media what you better believe. And if you don't agree, they will silence you. So, like I said, folks, I always say it at the beginning and the top of every single show. No matter what these people try to tell you, always question what you have been taught. You don't have to disagree with it, but you have an obligation to question it. Otherwise, you're nothing more than a mouthpiece for someone else's point of view or their agenda. I'm Tony Lindsay, and this is We Need to Talk with Tony Lindsay. Peace.